Not quite the captain, ladies and gentlemen, but you could just call me a willing officer. Since I was never in the military, then I probably can't comment correctly on exactly which rank I am, but first lieutenant, I guess that sounds fine, right? That's below captain. Anyway, boy, lots to talk about today, guys. Obviously, we've covered a lot of ground. But I'm really looking forward to this next interview because Jared Max is a name and somebody that I have watched and I have read for years, and certainly a pleasure to have him on. Jared, are you on with me right now?
Hey, Joe, what's up, man?
There you are. Wow, you look good.
Hey, you know, for you, when I heard that you were calling, I broke out Sunday's finest.
Wow. You know, everybody's Skype looks great. I mean, I'm really, the HD quality, what kind of camera are you using there?
I have a fairly new Mac Pro laptop, and that's what I'm working with. I have also have the Skype on the iPhone and whatnot, but it seems to work pretty well here.
Yeah, it really looks great, and I think, you know, just a little media kludgy kind of niche-y kind of stuff. Wonky, I think, is the word that I'm looking for. I think you're going to see a lot more interviews being done this way where contributors, say on ESPN, it may not necessarily have to go to Bristol or have to go to New York when they have to do a quick interview. We see it with Adam Schefter all the time. I think you're going to see a lot more, even coaches or anybody they want to bring in for an interview, they could do it over Skype or over some sort of video from home as opposed to paying all that money to drive them or fly them to a studio.
And it won't be long, Joe, before we'll have, essentially, we'll have a green screen in our home, and the green screen is what the weatherman generally, stands in front of, and that's so that images can be superimposed. This, of course, is not a superimposed image. Those would actually be my cool sports artifacts sitting behind me. But if, let's say, you wanted to make me look like I was in Sochi, Russia, we could do that.
I could see already on there. You got Jackie Robinson, looks like behind you, right?
Yes. Let me get out of here.
Okay, thank you. And I see Fenway Park? No.
No.
That's a high wall and left, but is that Colorado?
High wall left.
Right below Jackie.
Below Jackie Robinson. Yeah. No, that would be that's Yankee Stadium, opening day at the new stadium.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's a little far away from me. Is that Ty Cobb up to the upper left?
Just to that would be Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Okay, yeah.
Great stuff. So yeah, come on over sometime. I'll show you. Rock and roll is on the other side of the wall.
I see a Fender, I believe, there, right? Is that
yes. Yeah. There's a Fender. There's a Fender guitar. There's a Fender Telly. I'm a big guitar man, so lots of guitars.
Yep, and the old radio as well. So that's good stuff.
See Alf up there.
This is like extreme home makeover that we've somehow turned this interview into. All good. Hey, Jared, what do you think of? Let me bring up NBC first in the interview with Bodie Miller that's gotten so much attention. As far as the 1, 2, 3, 4 questions regarding Bodie's 29-year-old deceased brother, if you're conducting that interview, would you have gone that far? I know it's part of the narrative and the story of why he may have been inspired on that particular day, but from my perspective at least, I think I would have quit after 2 seconds, and I certainly wouldn't have lingered on him for 75 seconds in a post-edit since it wasn't a live event. What did you think of that? How did it strike you, and is the criticism fair?
The criticism is fair, and I think it's unfair if we just criticize Miss Cooper for the interview because NBC chose to go in tight with the camera shot, and truthfully, I have no problem with that, but then just go in tight with the camera shot. I think what it comes down to, Joe, is this, and this is a philosophy I've always employed with dealing with players and athletes, and yes, sometimes you want to go after what she did in what I call going for the low-hanging fruit. You got to remember the golden rule: do unto others as you would choose to have done to you. And if Kristen Cooper had just lost a member of her family a year ago and was obviously in an emotional state, having just won a medal, becoming the most decorated U.S. Winter Olympian and oldest as well, the story tells itself. I don't think everybody knew about Bodie's brother. It seems anybody who had been watching, certainly, going into the Olympics, we always look for these stories. What are the stories outside just the sports to kind of tug at people's hearts? Everybody knew about Bodie Miller. As a broadcaster, as a journalist, as an interviewer, I proudly set that up, much like she did in opening up and saying, Bodie, congratulations. You've just, reached this honor. You've won this medal, and now you're the most decorated and such. And he mentioned his brother. He's the first one who brought it up. And then all she really would had to say was, there are a million ways she could have said, can you share with us some of your thoughts? Is your brother with you today? And that's as far as you go with it.
Right.
Now, she kept going, and what killed me the most was that at the end, when he finally broke down, and couldn't pull back. She reaches in, grabs his arm to comfort, to console him, and says, "I'm sorry." And I thought, no, you're not.
You pulled the trigger.
You pulled the trigger. As I was saying yesterday on a network, you just shot him.
Yep.
So,
hey, Jared, do you mind if we show our viewers the clip real fast and they can judge for themselves, and then we'll finish that
please.
thought? Okay, guys, let's roll that real fast. NBC. It looks like we're having a little trouble audio there, guys. Not a problem. You can bring it back to me.
NBC Legal jumped in and said, "You owe us $6 million for that."
Right. Yeah, I think, Jared, again, the problem I had was that it was on 20-hour tape delay. And to linger there for 75 seconds the way they did, you could fade out with it. You could show it for 5-6 seconds. But that whole 75 seconds of just showing Bodie Miller basically in a completely vulnerable position, one that some argue he was pushed into, that's where I have a problem, that goes beyond Kristen Cooper.
There's a certain cheapness to it in the sense that they know it's going to go viral. But again, look at the money that NBC pays for these rights. That will, I guess, when all's said and done, that will stand out as one of the more memorable moments of these games from the American standpoint, at least as far as how as Americans we watch the Olympics. That it's the only real big story that has come out of Sochi that has had everybody talking, aside from going into it with the anti-gay propaganda laws in Russia. This has been a pretty large story, and I think it has some legs. When you go back and you can watch the video, I believe it's readily available online, and nobody has to pay NBC Legal to show it, which is always nice, is that watch when she first asks him. She says,
I think we have it here now, Jared. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Let's roll that real quick, guys.
What does this one mean to you in terms of all the others?
This was a little different. I think, you know, my brother passing away, I really wanted to come back here and race, you know, the way he sensed it. So this was a little different.
Bodie, you're showing so much emotion down here. What's going through your mind?
I mean, a lot, obviously. Just a long struggle coming in here, and just a tough year. And
I know you wanted to be here with Chile, really experiencing these games, and how much does it mean to you to come up with a great performance for him, and was it for him?
I mean, I don't know if it's really for him, but I wanted to come here and I don't know, I guess make myself proud. But
when you're looking up in the sky at the start, we see you there, and it just looks like you're talking to somebody. What's going on there? Sorry. What does this one mean to you in terms of all the others?
So that is the third question, Jared, that I had a problem with, because clearly that third question didn't. It looks like you're talking to somebody. Gee, I wonder who you're talking about. That's where I also had a big issue as well.
Yeah, Joe, for starters, she sounds like a 6-year-old when she says, "What's going on there?" Number one, you know, I mean, that's not a really professional way of going at it with an interview. Yeah, what's going on there? The first time she asked him, you know, there was a lot of emotions up there when you pointed to the up at the sky. What's going on there? What's going on there? If you turn down this could be a silent movie, and you know what's going on there.
Exactly right.
Right. I mean, as broadcasters, as a sportscaster, the rules are the same as as a referee. You don't want to become the story. She essentially became the story. And when she first asked him, I love it when you watch the clip, she first asks him, she says, "Bodie, you're emotional here. What's going on there?" And he actually, you see it in his eyes, he processes the question, and he shoots her a sneer, as if to say, "Did you seriously just ask me that question?" Yeah. And Bodie, truthfully being a good sport, went ahead, and, you know, he's part of everyone kind of works together. Yesterday had me thinking about, I don't know if you remember back in 1999 at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Pete Rose was honored by Major League Baseball. They brought on the Century team, and Pete Rose goes on the field, and you know, he had pretty much been disgraced because of the gambling matters. And the interviewer, Jim Gray, never shy to get in someone's face and ask a question that goes beyond journalism, but I believe to be inappropriate, and started ragging on Pete Rose at the time. What about the gambling? And Pete finally said, "Hey, man, Jim, this is a positive thing. Let's focus on this." Now, that wasn't Mark McGuire on Capitol Hill saying, I only want to talk about good things, not the past. Pete was saying, look, this is a positive moment. Let this be. and Jim Gray didn't. And then came the World Series that year, and Chad Curtis, who helped the Yankees win a game, then after the game when Jim Gray went to interview him, Chad Curtis said, Jim, as a team, we've decided we don't like how you treated Pete, and we're not talking to you. So that a professional side where a baseball team has the power to do that with, say, an outside network, the Olympics, the U.S. Olympic team and NBC are very much, whether or not they're bedfellows, they're certainly not strangers.
That's true, Jared, and that's a great, the Chad Curtis analogy is perfect because that was Game 3 of the '99 series, Braves-Yankees. He had a home run in extra innings, basically put that series away, and he said, "Yeah, because of the whole Pete Rose thing, Jim, I'm not going to talk to you." And that's a great point. Just want to end it on one positive note for NBC. I admire greatly Bob Costas. I met him 12 years ago. He had been coming off a stomach flu where he was literally throwing up during an NBA final game, and came on and did an interview with the small station I was working for anyway. We very easily could have canceled him. The same thing with the pink eye. Everybody jokes, but he worked through that, and I'm glad to see him back. And that line that he said, filling in for Meredith Vieira and Matt Lauer, that's classic Costas and just the best in his sport, no question.
And he, he's something else at these Olympics that we're going to remember for is Bob Costas's eye.
Eyes at one point, right? The infection actually spread, but here he is back, and I never doubted that he would try to work through this and not just go home and give up. So Bob Costas, he's 61 years old. He looks 31, and we're certainly glad to see him back.
He looks like he's still like 29. Now with the eye thing, if he ever left NBC, I guess CBS would be the next one with the eye, right?
Oh, well, and on that note, Jared, I have to leave you. But it was good to come into your home and certainly see your great collection there, and thanks so much for joining us here on Newsmax. We appreciate it, Jared.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Okay. And we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show. We'll wrap things up in just a moment.
The Steve Malzberg Show.